Ever thought about, maybe going back to school? Like, what if
Yeah.
a master's degree maybe crossed your mind, like
Yeah,
for your career or just to experience something new?
absolutely. It's a
Yeah.
big decision for a lot of people.
Huge.
And today, we're going to look at what it takes to get a master's in the UK.
Okay.
We've got all sorts of info, general guides, what experts think, what students say, some, stats and figures
Right.
to
Right.
really give you a good
Yeah.
picture.
So we're not going to get lost in the tiny details of applications or anything,
Yeah,
but we want to give you, the big picture
exactly.
of master's programs over there in the UK.
The lay of the land,
Exactly. Advantages, challenges, all that.
the whole million yards.
So you can start to think if this is the right move for you.
Right.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So why is the UK such a hot spot for master's degrees?
Well, the UK, they've got a long history of really great universities. Top of the world, really. Employers everywhere respect their degrees.
Yeah, for sure.
Oxford, Cambridge, Imperial College, London,
Of course. Yeah.
places like that. Just really good reputation.
Names everyone knows.
Exactly. And that can help you later on open doors.
Right, right. Networking, I bet, is huge too.
Oh, yeah.
But it's got to be more than just big names, right?
Yeah.
What else?
So the way master's programs are set up in the UK, that's different from a lot of other places.
Okay. How so?
So in the UK, if you do a full-time master's, it usually takes 1 year.
Okay.
A lot of other countries, it's like 2 years.
Gotcha.
So that shorter time can save you money on tuition and living expenses,
Makes sense.
and you can get back to work or move your career forward faster.
Yeah, that speed is definitely a plus.
For sure.
Okay, but what if you have something specific you want to study, like a niche field?
Oh, the UK has you covered. They have a huge variety of specializations. I mean, anything you can think of, really.
Wow.
STEM fields, humanities, social sciences, business, medicine,
Really?
you name it. They even have programs that combine different fields, like interdisciplinary stuff.
Okay, so high quality, efficient, lots of choices. Anything else that makes the UK stand out?
You know what I've heard? UK universities, they're really connected to the working world.
Okay, interesting.
So you can network, maybe get an internship with a good company, and just have better job prospects after you graduate.
Right.
They really try to connect what you learn with what you'll actually do in your job.
Makes a lot of sense.
Like if you're studying computer science, the university might partner with tech companies. Or for medical fields, maybe they work with hospitals.
Yeah, that's smart.
It is.
Now, for people listening who aren't from the UK,
Right.
what about staying and working there after you finish your master's?
Oh, yeah. Big one. The graduate route visa. This lets international students who are eligible stay and work in the UK for 2 years after they graduate.
Oh, wow.
It's a great chance to get experience working in another country and really use that UK degree to your advantage.
Makes sense.
And you don't even need a job offer to apply for it.
Okay, so the UK is looking pretty good so far.
I'd say so.
But what about the nitty-gritty? If someone decides to go for it, what's the application process actually like?
Okay, so usually you need a bachelor's degree, sometimes with good grades. That's where your GPA comes in,
GPA, right.
your grade point average from your undergrad. They also want to see that you're good at English. So you'll probably need to take a test like IELTS, the International English Language Testing System.
Yeah.
Or TOEFL,
Yeah.
the test of English as a foreign language.
Okay, and what kind of scores are they looking for on those?
For IELTS, they usually want a total score between 6.5 and 7.5.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes they also have minimum scores for each part of the test, like listening, reading, writing, speaking.
Gotcha.
And for TOEFL, the total score is usually between 90 and 110. But it's really important to check each program and university's website, because what they want can be different.
Right.
They use these scores to make sure you can keep up with the classes and discussions.
Yeah, makes sense.
They want to make sure you'll thrive there.
For sure. So good grades, English skills, what else is usually part of the application?
Your statement of purpose, the SOP.
Oh, right.
That's super important.
Mm.
It's where you tell them about your background, what you want to do in your career, why you want to go to that specific program in university,
Right.
and how it all fits with your big goals.
So it's not just about what you've done, but also you want to do.
Exactly. They want to see that you've thought about your research interests and how they match up with the faculty's work at that university.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You also usually need letters of recommendation.
Right. Reference.
From professors or people you've worked with. They can talk about how good you are academically, your work ethic,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Okay, and when is the deadline for all of this?
Most universities in the UK have 2 main intake periods.
Okay.
The fall intake starts in September or October, and the deadlines are usually earlier in the year, like between January and May.
Gotcha.
Some programs also have a spring intake that starts in January or February.
Right.
Those deadlines are usually in the fall before. But you always want to check the exact deadlines for each program, just to be safe.
So, gotta start early.
Definitely.
Okay, so once you've done your research and got all your documents together, what's the next step?
So you've got to do your research on the programs and universities, get all your documents ready,
Mm,
transcripts, English test scores, statement of purpose, letters of recommendation, all that.
right.
Then you usually apply online.
Okay.
You might go through UCAS Postgraduate, that's the Universities and Colleges Admissions Service.
Right.
They handle applications for lots of UK universities. Or you might apply directly on the university's website.
Gotcha.
It just depends.
Okay. Now, what if you're coming from outside the UK? Is there a visa thing?
Yeah, if you're an international student and you're studying for more than 6 months, you'll need to apply for a Level 4 student visa.
Okay.
And keep in mind that it takes time to process,
Like how long?
usually 3 to 6 weeks, but sometimes it can take longer depending on when you apply and what country you're from.
Makes sense.
Once you get your visa, then you can start looking for a place to live and book your flights.
Okay, so lots of steps.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk money. How much does it actually cost to get a master's in the UK?
Well, the tuition fees can be really different depending on what you're studying and where you're going.
Yeah.
But generally, for humanities and social sciences, it's about 12,000 to 20,000 pounds per year.
Okay.
For engineering and technology, maybe 15,000 to 30,000.
Gotcha.
And for things like medicine and business, it can be even more, maybe 20,000 to 50,000.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, definitely something to consider.
And that's just tuition, right?
Right. On top of that, you have living expenses.
Right, of course.
Those also depend on where you live, with London usually being the priciest.
Yeah, London's expensive.
So for housing, you might be spending 500 to 1,200 pounds a month.
Okay.
Food and bills, maybe 300 to 500.
Gotcha.
And for transportation, maybe 50 to 150 pounds a month, depending on how much you travel.
Right.
But of course, these are just estimates. It really depends on how you live and how much you spend.
Yeah, for sure.
Everyone's different.
Yeah. Okay, so overall, it's a pretty big investment. Are there any ways to make it more affordable, like scholarships or something?
Oh, yeah, definitely. There are a lot of scholarships out there for international students.
Good.
Chevening scholarships are a big one. They cover everything, and they're for future leaders from all over the world.
Wow.
There are also Commonwealth scholarships for students from Commonwealth countries.
Right.
The UK government has great scholarships, too. Those are with different UK universities
Mhm.
for students from certain countries. And it's worth looking into what scholarships each university offers, because a lot of them have their own scholarships for international students.
So it's definitely worth researching.
Absolutely. Do your homework on that.
Okay, so there's a lot of good reasons to get a master's in the UK,
Yeah.
but it can't all be sunshine and roses. Right. There's got to be some challenges too.
You're right. It's not always easy. Like we said, the tuition and living costs can be a lot, especially in London.
Right.
And the Tier 4 student visa process is pretty strict. You have to have all the right documents.
I bet.
And even beyond the money and paperwork, UK master's programs are known for being tough.
In what way?
They expect you to learn a lot on your own. It's a lot of work packed into 1 year, so you need to be good at managing your time, staying focused, and taking initiative with your learning.
Yeah, you really got to hit the ground running.
Exactly.
What about like the personal and social side of things? Moving to a new country for school has got to be tough.
Oh, absolutely. Getting used to a new academic culture, new people, maybe even a new language,
Right.
even if you're good at English,
Right.
it can be tough. It takes time to make friends and build a support system.
Yeah, of course.
And like we said, getting scholarships is competitive.
Right.
And even though you can work after you graduate with the graduate route visa, finding a job as an international student can be tricky long term.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it's good to know about these potential challenges beforehand so you can plan for them.
Definitely. Better to be prepared.
Okay, so what are some things people can do to set themselves up for success if they do decide to go for a UK master's?
Planning early is key. Like start researching universities, programs, deadlines, all that, at least a year before you want to go.
Wow, okay.
And make sure you pick a program that really fits with what you've studied, what you want to do for work, and your long-term goals.
Yeah, that's smart.
Knowing what you want will make you more motivated while you're studying, and it'll make your application stronger.
So plan ahead, pick the right program.
Exactly. And like we said before, Apply for scholarships.
Right, right.
Put in the time and effort to find all the scholarships you can, both from the universities and other organizations.
Okay.
It's also super important to really understand what you need for the student visa and make sure you have everything so there are no problems with your application.
Right. Makes sense.
And once you're in the UK, you need to be good with money, make a budget, and stick to it so you can afford to live there.
Yeah. Budgeting is key.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've planned ahead, got your finances in order, you've arrived in the UK. What's next?
Find a place to live as soon as you can, especially if you're going to a popular university town or city, because student housing goes fast.
Right.
Even if your English is good, keep working on it. It'll help you with your studies and with making friends.
Yeah, good point.
And don't forget to network. Talk to your professors, other students, people who graduated from the university, people who work in your field.
Makes sense.
Take every chance you get.
And universities usually have resources to help students too, right?
Oh yeah, tons. Use them. They have libraries, career services, academic advisors, research support, all sorts of things.
Wow, yeah.
And make sure you have a balance between studying and having a life, so you don't burn out.
Right.
You might even want to get a part-time job or internship while you're studying.
Yeah.
It's a way to make some extra money, and it looks good on your resume.
Yeah, good idea.
And for international students, try to get involved in things outside of school, too.
Oh, like what?
Talk to people from different cultures, try to understand their customs,
Right.
join clubs, societies, sports teams. It's a good way to make friends and feel like you belong.
Yeah, I bet.
And don't forget about the graduate route visa. Learn about what you need to do for that well before you graduate so you're ready to look for work after.
Okay, that's all really helpful advice. Do we have any examples of people who've actually done this successfully?
We do. Sarah, a student from India, got her MBA in Business Analytics at Imperial College London.
Okay.
At first, she was worried about money, but she got a Chevening scholarship. Then she used the university's career services, went to networking events, and ended up getting an internship at a really good consulting firm.
Nice.
After she graduated, she got the graduate route visa, and now she works as a consultant in the UK for a big international company.
That's amazing.
It just shows that if you plan ahead, get involved, and use the resources available to you, you can really succeed.
Yeah, really inspiring. Okay, you mentioned some statistics earlier that give us a bigger picture.
Yeah, the UK is a really popular place for master's degrees. Lots of international students go there.
Like how many?
In 2023, there were over 605,000 international students in the UK at all levels of study.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is. And the UK is ranked second in the world for higher education quality, according to the QS World University Rankings for 2024.
So their degrees are well respected.
Yeah, definitely. And the Higher Education Statistics Agency, or HESA, found that in 2024, 92% of UK master's graduates had a job or were studying further within 6 months of finishing their program.
So most people who get a UK master's do pretty well afterwards.
Yeah, it seems that way. And just to remind you about the cost, most UK master's programs cost between £12,000 and £30,000 per year.
Right.
So it's not cheap.
Okay, we also have some insights from experts in the field, right?
We do. Dr. Elizabeth Carter, a senior lecturer at University College London, says the UK is popular for master's degrees because their one-year programs are intense, they combine academics with real-world stuff, and they lead to good job opportunities all over the world.
So it's tough, but it pays off.
Seems like it.
What else do the experts say?
James Matthews, an education consultant with study abroad experts, says a UK master's doesn't just give you academic qualifications.
Okay.
It also gives you international experience and helps you develop critical thinking skills, which are super valuable to employers.
Interesting.
He says UK graduates are really attractive to employers because they're good at independent research and applying what they know to real-world problems.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It does.
Okay, and we also have some examples of how this organization, LetzStudy, helps students with this whole process, right?
Yeah, LetzStudy helps students with all parts of applying for a master's in the UK.
Okay.
Like, they helped Sharath, who didn't have a typical academic background, get into an artificial intelligence program at Brunel University.
Oh, wow.
They also helped Raju get a £5,000 scholarship from the University of Leeds and helped him figure out how to pay for his studies.
That's great.
And they helped Yasha's SK with his UK visa application, made sure he had all the right documents, and even practiced visa interviews with him.
Wow, that's a lot of support.
It is. It shows that having someone help you with the process can make a big difference, especially for international students who are new to the UK system.
Yeah, Definitely. Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, what are the main things our listeners should keep in mind if they're thinking about a master's in the UK?
Basically, a master's in the UK can give you a world-class education, better job opportunities, and a chance to experience a new culture.
Right.
But it's going to cost a lot, the visa process can be hard, and the programs themselves are really demanding.
Yeah, so it's a big decision.
It is.
As you're thinking about your future, ask yourself if a master's in the UK is right for what you want to do.
Good advice.
We hope this deep dive has given you the information you need to start answering that question.
I think it has. And here's one last thing to think about.
Mm.
The world is changing fast,
Mhm.
and people need specialized skills more than ever.
Yeah.
So how could getting a master's in the UK, an international experience like that, help you create the future you want?
That's a good question.
Something to think about.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
My pleasure.
We'll see you next time.
Sounds good.
Bye.